You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's The Bachelorette After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's The Bachelorette After Show.
Roses are red, violets are blue. Please spare the poetry and just kiss me till I'm blue.
I was gonna do a Roses Are Red poem too.
And that is from R.A. Lyondike, but we're not done yet.
Oh dear.
Oh my gosh.
One last one. Roses are red, violets are blue. Write another, and I'm throwing you both off a cliff.
Is there room for me under this table?
Mine was Roses Are Red.
Yes.
Violets are blue. Everyone cried. This episode was boring.
With that said, we all know that Bing is for doing, and we are here doing another after show on AFTERBUZZ TV. This is The Bachelorette Season 9, Episode 7. I'm JC, and of course, no show would be complete without the brunette bandits. Woohoo!
Hey.
Starting with the lovely lady to my left.
Hey, I'm Cathy Kelley.
And next, Cathy.
Hey guys, Krisily. Sorry, I keep spinning in my chair. I'll stay still.
And AFTERBUZZ just got a little bit prettier tonight because, unfortunately, we do not have Steven in the back, but we have the lovely Marissa Serafini running the ones and twos. How are you, Marissa?
I'm great. Thank you for calling me pretty.
Prettier
than Steven.
And complimenting one of my favorite AfterBuzzers. This is amazing.
We've got a lot to go on tonight. I mean, all the guys are falling in love with Des, except for maybe Brooks. What's going on? We're going to get into it in a second. But of course, we got to say hello to the chat roll, everyone watching us at home. If you're watching us live, what's up, guys? If not, make sure to tune in on iTunes, Stitcher, OneCast, and better yet, just go to our site, AfterBuzzTV.com, and you can see us live and actually check out some of the shows that you guys are doing. What shows are you guys doing now? What's going on, Cathy? You're doing like 20 shows.
I do Raw.
Okay.
And I just wrapped Arrested Development, and I do Chatting with Cathy, which is an interview show, so check them all out.
Yes, and of course, Krisily, you just started a new one as well, right? Didn't you start, what are you working on now?
Brazilian Isles. Yeah.
Okay. And that enthusiasm is going to carry us that whole hour through, so
I'm trying to
Krisily.
be like Michael.
Krisily,
Yes.
what were your impressions on tonight's show?
That it was hard for me not to keep my eyes closed.
Have we ever had a 2-on-1 date where someone doesn't go home? That was weird.
I feel like there has. I feel like there definitely has. But that
been a
wasn't
while.
the only boring part of the episode.
Well, what didn't you like?
I just felt like it
What weren't you
fell
feeling?
flat. Like after last week's trailer for the upcoming episode or whatever you want to call it, teaser, I just expected this to be like a, oh my God, and there was not one, oh my God.
Do you think maybe they're setting up the table? Because I want to jump into this. I really want to dive into this first date with Brooks.
I just feel like it loses so much if you keep on calling every season and every episode the most dramatic thing ever, and it's not. Like, at least just call it out and be like, our fourth most dramatic Bachelorette season ever.
Yeah, it's...
Because I'm going to watch regardless, but don't try to, like, tease me and then it fall flat.
Well, did they promo it like that this week?
Yeah.
They
Really?
promo it like that every week. Come on, JC, where have you been? Every
at
week
AfterBuzz.
is the most dramatic or the most...
This is going to be the
just-
most surprising ending of a Bachelor season ever. Will it be? Or will she pick someone and they get engaged and then...
I think maybe we misinterpreted it, perhaps, because there was a teaser for the next few weeks. It wasn't saying that it was going to be like this tonight, because I agree, tonight was slow.
I don't think that this is the most dramatic season ever. I'm just going to say it.
Not even close.
I like it. I'm watching it.
Well, let us know at home. What do you guys think? Which was the most dramatic season?
Not this one. The consensus from most people that I see on Twitter and on Facebook is that this is a boring season.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's not. I mean, there's parts of it that I've liked, and I don't.
I feel like they
bash
tried
Desiree.
to manufacture a lot of drama. I feel like there have been better villains on previous seasons. Tiara, Courtney, that was a dramatic season. Okay. Whoa. Vienna, whoa.
Yeah.
Well,
And seeing a bunch of guys cry, that's not dramatic or enticing. Like, that's annoying.
I would say it's the most sentimental season. We've had a lot of, stories from people we've gotten to know about.
Biggest crybabies.
All right, but maybe we got so used to the drama, but at its essence, the show is about finding love. And you see that she's crying with Chris, that she's falling in love.
That's at the end of the episode. We're not there yet, JC. We're on the date with Brooks.
Well, then let us get into the Brooks date, Krisily.
Lots of cloud references.
Yes, head in the clouds, love amongst the clouds.
Cloud9.
We're breaking through the clouds, and our relationship is to making breakthroughs.
I love the metaphors and similes that they use because they're just so bad.
They're cheesy.
Gosh, you guys, come on. I'm going to get you. Okay, Brooks, this is setting up the table for, I think something could really happen because you could tell that she really likes him and maybe he's not at the same level as she is. She's running, he's jogging.
Wait. Can we just say he wanted her to come up with an adjective between like and love, and she came up with sprinting, running,
Skipping, you forgot skipping.
jogging. And those aren't adjectives, those are verbs. Did anyone else catch that?
No, because I wouldn't have known the difference because I don't pay attention.
English is my second language, Cathy. Oops.
You're the only smart one at this
Sorry
table.
for rubbing it in. Are you going to cry now?
Then you should have been on this season of The Bachelorette. See, you'd fit in perfect.
I thought we would have had something.
I thought
Go on, carry on.
their conversation in the car was really awkward, and him saying that he wanted to know where she was at. It was just this really awkward conversation. And then they got back, like the whole in between like and love conversation. I wouldn't have ever had that conversation with anybody, and I get for being on the show, they kind of need to have those conversations. And it got a little bit better when they were on top of the mountain, but this was the first date that I've seen them be awkward together.
I think that every season we see this with the person from the first date, whoever got the first one-on-one, is that they had an instant connection with this person more so than anyone else in the house. And by this point in the game, or in the relationship, they start doubting what they have because they see the relationship getting stronger with other people, and then they kind of shy away from it. We saw this with Ashley Frazier, with Ashley Hebert, or however you pronounce her last name, with a lot of people.
KCB.
And it doesn't usually end well for them.
So you're saying, because everyone loves Brooks and Des together, do we see a possibility?
I think that they have a lot of chemistry, but if he doesn't get up to running like she is,
You can't force that, though. If he's not feeling it.
And the first thing, Des said it before they even had the date together. When she was sitting with Catherine, Leslie, and Jackie, she said the one worry she has with Brooks is that he may not be ready. So she knows that already about him, which is what's making him even more attractive to her.
Exactly.
I mean, that's all it is. And I do agree that I think Brooks probably has a little bit stronger feelings than you think he does, but I think that the other relationships are absolutely getting to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and needless to say, I don't know if you remember the beginning of the date with Brooks. Chris, who tends to be the reserved one, he was expressing his concern about Brooks, that he feels, he didn't say threatened, but he is. I mean, he
sees the relationship
connection.
develop, yeah.
Yeah. So.
and I would say after tonight, I feel like Chris and Brooks have the strongest relationships with, well, Andrew, I guess, but.
Yeah, because Drew's coming out of nowhere.
Sometimes I wish I could combine guys and make the perfect guy. So you just did it for me, Drooks. You're out there, call me.
Okay. Drooks, and would it be Crack? No, Chris and Zach? I don't know. I'm just saying, okay, before we move on, let's
A shirtless man who loves poetry. Who doesn't want one of those?
I think Cathy does. All right, so anything that stood out on the date for you guys? The fact that it seemed like she was chasing Brooks and Brooks was the one that being a little more aloof.
Aloof.
Aloof, thank you. And the fact that he puts on a lot of layers.
He's cold.
He had a lot of layers on.
He was cold.
Krisily, you love Brooks.
I do. He's
So-
still one of my front runners.
So basically, it's just like a little speed bump. Maybe it's to throw us off that he could finally possibly make it to the finale.
I was thinking about this tonight, and honestly, they may surprise me, but I mean, last season I didn't really see this with anyone else other than Catherine. Who could be the next Bachelorette? This season, I don't know that anyone could be the next Bachelor other than Brooks.
I don't know. I mean, I think Chris would be solid too.
He'd be okay. Is he America's heartthrob? I don't know.
I think Brooks and Chris would both be kind of boring.
I think that Chris would be a
So do you want Zach?
decent Bachelor.
No, I don't want any of these guys on this season to be
Dare I say
Bachelor.
it? Ben was right.
What was that?
That they just missed out. I mean, like, I don't think that he would make a good
they're
Bachelor,
not
but I
gonna
feel
have
like
anyone.
Des sent home a lot of good guys at the very beginning, which were very strange choices.
And you know that they're going to build upon this because they're not going to get someone new unless it's a celebrity. Because
Maybe
they were,
Brad will come back. Third time's a charm.
Jinx.
I mean, him and Ashley have supposedly broken up, so
Supposedly,
hey,
yeah.
why not? Third time's a charm.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think Jeff Holm. Just gonna
I mean,
put that
sign
out
me
there.
up to watch every episode of that.
So who do y'all think? So what about Ari?
I would rather see Jeff.
Yeah.
You'd rather see Jeff?
Yeah.
Even though the problem is, do they really have a hard time finding love? Jeff and Ari. We've seen them after the show, and they've been very popular.
I feel like it.
So I don't
I
know.
love Emily, but I wonder if something's like, I don't know.
What do you mean?
I feel like Jeff's fine. He'd be a great Bachelor.
Yeah, no. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I don't think they have a hard time in the dating world. So we wouldn't be sympathetic. Like, let's say Chris, even though Chris is a good-looking guy, but you're right. It seems like it could be like a boring
But
season
none of
with
Do you
him.
think that
people.
Sean had a bad time in the dating
No,
world? He's
or
a
Des.
freaking good-looking dude. He came on the show for the experience, and I feel like sometimes, and
But he was from the previous season. What I'm saying is, when you're reaching back to other seasons, you want that built-in fan base, unless it's a celebrity.
But they have built-in fan bases. I don't understand what you're trying to ask. I'm really confused.
I'm just stirring
Emily
the pot,
had
trying
a
to figure out.
built-in
No,
fan base, and
Yeah, I
What's
feel
his
like
name?
Ari would, Jeff would, and all of them. I mean, when you come off a season and go on to another one, you have a built-in fan base and people care about you, and you could go date anyone anyway. So I feel like it's the same whether they waited a season or went from this season.
they almost had Roberto, and he randomly found a girlfriend last minute, and that's why they picked Sean. So that's kind of weird because I really like Sean as a Bachelor.
All right. So we've sidetracked a little bit on our pontifications on who should be the next Bachelor. You let us know who should be the next Bachelor. And let's move on to the second date with the lovely Chris, the poetry master, who
I
broke
think it's funny because with Chris, while there are no other Chris's on the show, they still have to refer to him as Chris S. Because
Yeah.
he's not Chris Harrison.
Maybe that's in Harrison's clause, his contract. You know, another Chris has to have.
If I was the
initial.
casting director, I would just never pick any Chris's.
That's how bad these dates were. That this is what we're talking about.
I know. See,
It really is.
too bad.
like-
the chat is the chat roll up. That's
Yeah.
not coming in.
I think we just need to move to like the overnights. Or no, the families. I'm really
Families
excited for
are
those.
always so fun.
In
They
this-
should have skipped this week.
If you go back to last season, we
Yeah.
did the same thing on the episode before the hometowns.
No, because I feel like usually you have a villain still. There's still some
was
tension.
This is when
somewhere.
Tiara went home.
No, she went home a little earlier than that. I'm talking about Ben. Like Ben,
watch Ben's
Courtney was there to the end. So you had that villain all the way towards the end.
If James was still around, would it still be that interesting? He wasn't that great of a villain.
No.
But they carried that storyline for the last 2 weeks of the show. But
Yeah.
let's move on to the positive of Chris. Do we see anything there? Do we see more of a friend? Is it more of a friendship?
I definitely see some spark between them. I thought it was really funny. There's a line that I actually tweeted about tonight. He said, "This is a memory only Des and I will have. All of America has the memory of your date now." Like, I'm sorry. This is a memory that only Des and I will have. All the production, everyone has the memory of you guys
Yeah.
now.
Yes, but all of America that's in the moment with him, I'm sure. That's why he's saying that.
Okay.
The only notable thing that I saw that came out of this date was this was the only person that Des said she wanted to bring home to meet her family.
Okay.
Now, granted, she could have said that to other guys and they just didn't show that to us with editing, but I thought that was notable that she said that to him.
I had another line that I wanted to nitpick at. Des said, "Cheers to a wonderful date and an even better dinner." So does that mean that you're hoping that your food is better than your date? It was just worded weird.
You two are out of control tonight.
But that's what happens when there's nothing else to watch is you start counting yawns and, oh my God, he blinked his eyes 12 times. Maybe that means he's a liar. I mean, it was just, there was not a lot going on in this episode. And it was kind of hard because we're at that point where
Should we make this a 20-minute episode then?
it was just a hard episode. It's like there was nothing that stood out with Chris. They're always sweet. They're always romantic. There's always poetry. It was nice.
So so with that said, has she made a choice, do you think?
I just wanted a really funny guy this season.
What about Zach?
He's like funny fart joke funny, not like
Right.
funny like witty funny.
Right.
What about Michael G? Should we move on? Should we breeze through? Should we just...
Michael G.
Chris's date's over.
Chris's date was over?
I feel like Michael's a
God.
used car salesman.
You feel who? I'm sorry.
Michael, he's like a used car salesman.
No, he's a litigator.
Right, we know that, but I mean, she's saying in his delivery and whatnot that he seems a little
There's just like
inauthentic.
no emotion.
He seems like he thinks of his lines before he says them, especially
'Cause
when
he's a
pleading
lawyer.
his case about James last week.
They went couch sledding. I thought that was awesome.
I mean,
That
mean-
was pretty cool.
I would have died for that date. I would have applied just for that. Just
it
to
was
go on that date.
okay.
That was fun.
It was fun. I mean, their conversation just blew. Like there was no emotion coming from
Okay,
him
grade the dates.
whatsoever.
Grade the dates. Okay, Brooks.
For who?
Michael.
For fun?
F for fun.
Okay, what about Chris?
I think they were all decent dates. I just don't know that in our minds they progressed many of the relationships. I get that a couple of the guys finally said I love you, but there was nothing. I don't know. Like I feel like the past couple weeks we've kind of already known who her top four were going to be, and
So there were no surprises tonight. The fact that are we just
No. Like
Drew?
the Chris date was sweet. You know, the I love you, the way he said it, he put thought into it. Like that was sweet. The Michael date was a dud for me. Like that was the worst date of the entire episode.
I mean, I appreciate him coming out and talking about how he was cheated on. It's kind of, I feel like, I don't want to say this as it's a game, but it's kind of late in the game to be expressing that if he hasn't already, or is it just
What
the
about
first...
Drew? I mean, Drew is coming out of nowhere, it seems like.
Yeah.
And you could tell
But
that
he
they're in-
talked a lot about it last week, like, you know, his family and everything.
Do you think maybe she's mixed up, or she just knows? She knows who she wants.
I think she knows.
So then, okay, then my question is, why continue with this process if you're going to end up you're hurting these guys right now? If
Because
she
they do it every single season.
I know, but now it's like, I think Krisily, you mentioned it, right? When she and Chris had a sit down, Chris Harrison, the way she was talking about Brooks, and you said there's no way that she could possibly pick Brooks now.
I didn't say there's no way. I said now I feel like she can't pick Brooks.
Okay.
Like because the way they set it up just makes you feel like why would they give all that information right now? Like something's going to change between now and then. But that could be exactly right, and she could just be. I mean,
She
but
basically said that she loved him.
She did. She said that she's in love with him, and she doesn't know how he feels, and she got emotional, and
She
she
wanted
cried,
to say it.
and
Like, when's the last time a bachelor has said, or bachelorette has said that she loves the person before the final rose ceremony?
Okay, and we know the Bachelor through and through.
I think the only person that's ever gotten to say that is Brad Womack to Emily.
But could it be a setup then? Remember, they've previewed the rest of the season, and a lot of stuff goes down.
We know that someone might leave on their own accord, and
So the fact that she's expressing this early leads me to believe that they're going to throw a wrench, or something's going to happen next week or the week after. Because for them to reveal it like this, they've never done that before.
yeah.
Tell me, I'm
I
grasping for straws here.
I don't.
Marissa, what do you
It's
think?
weird that they would give that out at this point, but I feel like because the dates are so boring and because I feel like they had to talk about the fact that the producers all knew it was happening. So the producers know that she is probably more in love with him than everybody else. And they also probably know that he's saying he's not really sure where he stands right now. So I feel like they had to play up on that. And I feel like Chris, what he does in that moment, and you had said, oh my God, he's so serious. He was more joking. He's more serious because when you're talking to a girl about a relationship, it's 100% different than when you're talking about a guy. And if you don't talk and just stare and give that girl that moment to collect her thoughts and talk, what's going to happen is exactly what we saw. You're going to cry. She's going to cry. She's going to get emotional. She's going to think about what she's saying. She's going to say it, and she's going to cry. And that's why he does it that way.
Chris Harrison's a great interviewer.
Okay. No, so I'm just trying to pick up any new developments or the fact that we were shocked. I was surprised that Zach is. I mean, we might as well, since we were cutting through the dates. I mean, did we forget to talk about anything about?
I mean, I just still think it's weird that they had a 2-on-1 date and no one went home, but that Drew still got a rose on it.
The Fast and the Not So Furious date.
I like that date too.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I'm kind of surprised that Zach's in the final four.
I'm not.
No.
I
really?
actually.
Okay.
Not at all.
I'm just listening to our predictions over the last few weeks, and we were all very.
I think by this point,
didn't think Zach was going to make it that far.
You have your top 4 guys. Like we've said this many seasons, they pick 5 great matches and 20 crazies or you know, character contestants.
Sure.
And then usually the top 4 are, you know, great people who you could see themselves with. Or, you know, 3 great people, and then 1 person who's just like the crazy, zany person who you know won't get their feelings hurt.
Right.
So you keep them around until like the final 2.
In the last 2 weeks, all of us have talked about how Zach has surprised us and how we've seen a totally different side of him. And I think Zach's biggest problem in being in a relationship is that he goes with his looks and his body first and not with who he is. And girls do it every day, all the time, and it's annoying.
I think he's the least emotional. Like, we haven't seen him.
Oh, see, I think we've, in the last 2 weeks, seen way more emotion from him. But he led with...
Not on the same level.
But because he led with taking his shirt off. He led with his looks. He led with, this is my hot body, look at it.
Yeah.
And had he led with the sweet, caring things that he's doing now, their relationship probably would have progressed in a very different way. Us as viewers probably would have looked at him in a very different way. But because he led with shirtless guy, it's like you automatically lose respect for him, and then all of a sudden now he's grasping to gain that back.
I think that's what happened
Yeah.
last season with Leslie.
Yeah.
With the football trick?
What,
No, the
with
bride.
the wedding gown.
Oh, the wedding.
Other Leslie. You're thinking Leslie Murphy.
Yeah. Okay, so he's made it this far.
Because
So.
he's fun. That I 100% will say that the only reason why he's made it this far is because he's fun. He's the guy you want to go to a bar and have a beer with. He's not the guy you want to marry.
I almost want to start since we've breezed through most of the show. Honestly, your case on why Brooke should get the final rose, or your case on why Chris should get the final rose.
I don't know if I said Chris should get the
No, I'm just saying. Even though so we can let's say I would pick Zach, and I'd give you the reasons why Zach should be the winner.
I think that it's between Chris and Brooks at this point.
I thought that too until I saw that stupid teaser last week.
I really have a feeling that either Chris, Drew, or Brooks is gonna leave suddenly, or just say that they're like not in love with her, which is weird because I feel like they've all kind of said, well, maybe Brooks will say that he's not in love with her.
But it looked like it was Drew saying
Yeah.
that, and that's what threw me for a loop.
They edit it weird every single season.
Of course.
They do the misdirection, sure.
It might not even be that. It might just be like him saying, you know,
It's not going to work. We can't have these cheeseburgers right now. I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
But he was pretty emotional, so for it to be cheeseburger, maybe he's emotional about cheeseburgers.
I
don't
think
know.
he might say, it's not gonna work if and then they cut it
Maybe,
off.
yeah.
Like, it's not gonna work if you keep these other guys around.
Yeah.
You don't know what context it was in because it's such a short snippet. You see her crying and emotional, which could happen for various reasons.
I still think I will be firm in my Brooks is the final person decision this week, but It's really, this is the weirdest. This episode was weird and boring, but it's the weirdest season when it comes to this because of the teaser that they've given us.
The promos remind me of Allie's season because when Frank went home, he was Final 4,
Yes.
Final 3 or something like that, and he seemed like he loved her, and then he pulled a fast one and just left.
Yep. And Allie's new boyfriend looks just like him. Anybody else notice that?
Yeah.
Just
I
throwing
remember
that
you
out
saying
there.
that. So we think it's either between Brooks and Drew that they're going to pull the card that I'm not in this.
Yeah.
Because there's always someone, I learned this, it's a little saying, there's always someone who kisses and one who turns the cheek in every relationship that you've ever been in. There's always one person that likes the other person more.
Yeah.
And with Brooks, go back and think of all your relationships.
I would say all my failed relationships. I feel like there's always someone that, I feel like a solid relationship, what you need is for both people to think that each other is their equal and to love each other as much as the other person loves them.
Do you see that equality with Des and one of the guys, any of the guys left?
I don't think you can at this point in the relationship.
Still
I think
nothing
it's
yet?
way too soon, and there's other people involved, so you can't. I don't think until you've been in a relationship past that first initial 6 months, because even the first initial 6 months is the fun, the flirty, the oh my god, this is so exciting, and then all of a sudden, real life, real love hits, and it's different.
Which Brooks brought up during their date. Even through the majesty of they being above the clouds, he ended up asking that golden question, like, how are we going to be outside of this?
Well, him and Chris are the only two that talk about real life. They both talk about outside of
on
this
air?
experience. Yeah, but I mean that's important because it is something. It's something that like Charlie and I talked about, but at that point we weren't allowed to talk about that stuff on camera. You know, we talked about it when the camera wasn't rolling. But you want to talk about that stuff because it's like you meet this person in this great place and you're going to all these amazing locations and you tend to not remember what real life is. And it's like, oh my God, what's your favorite food? Like, what's your favorite pizza? Like, what's your favorite sports team? Like, those are the things, the real life outside of this are things that they need to talk about.
It was Molly
What's
and
your favorite
Jason.
sports team might determine whether you get married or not.
you never know.
Someone likes Michigan, the other one likes Ohio State. It's done.
Whoa.
I always said I would never marry a Yankees fan, so.
Well, Jason and Molly, when they were dating, I guess Molly didn't know Jason's job till after the fact.
They talk about that a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that it is kind of a crapshoot in a lot of respects because you're not going to be able to know everything. Even Catherine is tweeting that she's on a road trip with Sean right now and she's learning about stories from that he was a rebel in college.
Right, that he was a bad boy or something.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, there are things that obviously it takes, I guess, years sometimes to get to know someone completely. And it's very hard, especially when you get, like 48 hours with someone on the show.
Which is another reason why I think a lot of the relationships don't work because think of things that are deal breakers for you.
Yeah.
And you're on this show and it's love on steroids and it's dating on steroids and so you don't get to see any of these things.
I think
and
that
then,
you have a lot of opportunity to meet someone that would be a potential match and that you would have a long-term relationship with, but is that person going to be your soulmate or forever? It's a less, I don't know, there's less of a chance.
well, yeah, because when you get back in real life and you start learning all these things about them, you may learn all these things that you had as deal breakers that you're like, yeah, not so much. You're
And
not the person I thought you were.
One person has to usually move across the country because they don't pick people from your hometown, which is just stupid.
Of course not.
It's true. So, okay, so to wrap up, I mean, we have Drew, Brooks, Chris, and Zach as our final four. Any final thoughts before we move on to some saucy news and gossip?
Sassy.
I don't know. I'm trying to drum up the episode. Any final words? So let's just move on to, I guess, news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Cathy, you've got some of the most amazing, dramatic news ever listed ever on the
Because
show.
love is a wild ride.
There was some Bachelor news, but first I'm going to start off with some Ready for Love news because there wasn't that much news in Bachelor Nation this week, unfortunately. But I think that this is actually a very interesting story. Eva Longoria, who we know produced Ready for Love, is actually dating one of the 3 bachelors from the show, Ernesto. There was a lot of speculation, and they have come out this past week and said that they are dating.
Is that right?
I don't think it's right, especially since we've had Shandy in our studio and talking about how that was the first time Ernesto had ever said I love you. But anyways, I don't want to spend too long on this story just because it's not Bachelor related. But the way that it does tie back is, could Chris Harrison be the next Bachelor, or could he date one of the failed contestants?
Is he contractually allowed to date one of the girls on the show?
There
No.
were rumors that he was dating Emily Maynard.
Krisily says no.
Contractually, you cannot, as a contestant, you cannot date anyone that is any part of the show. That is on production, that is on staff, that is on anything.
Now, like, what if he wanted to date
Emily now.
someone? Yeah, Emily now.
He cannot?
No.
Wow. So it's good to
I feel
know.
like they would be fine with it now. Like, there might be like a 4-year clause or something like that.
There's no clause.
Okay.
They could they could
dating.
never date.
I
Wow.
actually think they might be cute together.
Okay.
But, anywho, I digress. Chris Harrison and Mike Fleiss, the creator of Bachelor, we've talked about how they started their new app, At First Sight, the dating app, which you can use to do videos, I guess. Chris says, I could see this turning into a new way to cast the show. Could help us out with our little problem of not having a viable contender from Dez's season to be the next Bachelor. So he was on air with Ryan Seacrest, and Chris Harrison said, if someone was phenomenal on the app and we thought they really fit the profile of what we're looking for, it's a great way to find people, not only in life, but maybe for The Bachelor as well.
Of course.
I think he mostly said that because he wanted to promote his app.
Of
He
course.
wanted people to go on
It's
it.
sales, of course, yeah,
I
sure.
don't think that
If
they
you
would
go
ever
on the
find someone-
app, the producers might look and you might be cast.
I think that they might find like one contestant next season from the app, but in no way are they going to pick the next Bachelor or Bachelorette.
No, I think cast members maybe, but not the actual Bachelor or Bachelorette. Or, I mean, maybe some hot professional person goes on and is like, I didn't know how to say.
I don't know where you were going with that.
No, because the Bachelor Bachelorette used to be, before they started recycling cast, it used to be they would find someone like Prince Lorenzo Borghese or Charlie, who was handsome and had a great job, so they had a lot of money. It was like the way that they kind of set it
I
up.
wouldn't mind seeing that again, like having them do a professional athlete or something
Yeah.
like that.
Maybe
it.
they will.
I believe Mr. Terrell Owens was trying to lobby to be the Bachelor.
Yeah.
Was he really?
Yeah, on Twitter.
That would help debunk their racial discrimination lawsuit.
So who knows? T.O. on The Bachelor.
He was tweeting about
I
it.
could see it.
He was tweeting about it.
It's definitely a flirt, so he'll be fine dating 25 girls.
I'm not touching that one.
Next piece of news and gossip. Kristen Chenoweth has a huge crush on one of the contestants from Dez's season.
Didn't she date somebody from another season?
Pavelka.
Yes. And she tweeted at Chris Harrison that she would like to be set up with, well, she said that she loved Juan Pablo and that she doesn't understand why he was kicked off. And so Chris might be setting them up.
Really? I know a lot of, every time I talk to someone about Bachelor, every girl asks me, I'm so sad that Juan Pablo was sent home.
Really?
Yeah. Yesterday, someone even told me, like, oh my God, I can't believe he's
Am I
gone.
the only one that didn't see it? I just didn't
He's
see
popular.
it.
I mean,
guess.
he's a cute dude. He's an ex-athlete, like soccer player.
Next Bachelor?
I don't think we got to see much of him. Like, what was it? At the Miss or Mr. America pageant, we just learned that he had a daughter when we had no idea that he had a daughter.
Yeah.
That was just slipped in there, like so casual. Anyways,
Our news is going to be longer than the actual show.
Last piece of news and gossip. I have
Yes.
Us Weekly Magazine. Des made the cover along with 3 guys who Us Weekly dubs the worst guys in Bachelor history.
Who are Ben?
Says that they're devils.
Bachelor from Hell.
Ben, he is the fame whore. James is the liar. And Mikey, the player.
The meatball.
How was Mikey T the player?
I don't even think he knew what was going on.
Yeah,
Because of the conversation that was had that he never got to stick up for himself for.
Our new AfterBuzz dog got to my magazine and kind of ruined it, but
Leave Sparky alone.
So definitely go to Us Weekly to find out more on that article.
yes. And then Of course, the guys had to rebut being the bad guys of the show. So James tweeted, "Well, made the front cover of Us Weekly. They truly don't know the real me. You know my face, not my story." And then tagged Mikey and Ben in that hashtag truth, hashtag love, hashtag bachelorette. Then Mikey tweeted, "Made the cover of Us Weekly with real James Case and Ben Scott, Texas. Hashtag haters are my hashtag motivators." Anyone who knows me knows this is the furthest thing to describe my character.
They just keep digging that grave.
Pretty much.
Ben did not tweet, and I respect that.
Well, is that it for news?
Yes, that sums up news and gossip for the week.
Thank you, Cathy Kelley, with news and gossip. All right, so now predictions.
Someone goes home next week.
No.
Now,
And we meet four
your
families.
AfterBuzz TV.
I predict some
So who-
guys crying.
All right, who's gonna
Someone
go?
cries.
Should we call who's gonna cry or who's gonna go home?
Zach's going home.
Zach's
Come
going home.
on.
All of them are crying, including Des.
Okay, that's your prediction.
Yeah.
Yep. James tells his mom he wants to marry Des.
Actually, unless Drew goes home by his
Drew.
own accord,
Drew.
I think Drew might go home intentionally.
No, he definitely doesn't go home till the week after.
Yeah, it doesn't till they're
There's
on the
definitely
island.
some tropical footage of them, so it's not him.
Yep.
Damn
Sorry.
you, editors!
Zach.
So I guess that wraps it up for an amazing Bachelor Top 5 episode. So
Shortest episode ever.
next week we will be back with Fury and Fire. So
I won't be here next week, unfortunately.
what?
Yeah.
You're fired.
I know. What are we gonna do without you, Cathy? Where can
I
they follow
will be
you?
back for overnight dates.
All right. Where can they follow? Where can they follow you in the meantime?
You can find me on Twitter at Catherine Kelley. You can find me here doing a million shows.
And Krisily, when you're not covering red carpets and everything that you do, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Krisily.
And Marissa, thank you for taking care of us tonight. We try to be behaved, but of course that didn't work. So once again, thank you for keeping us in check. We love you.
Aw, you guys are awesome.
Where can they find you, Marissa?
You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at Serafini TV.
And you can find me at JC Rubio TV on Instagram and Twitter. And you can find all of us at AfterBuzz TV. Stay tuned for Mistresses coming up next. See ya. Good night.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.